you're here. It's so nice
Hello.
to be talking to you today, Kenzie.
I am
And
so happy to be talking to you too. And I just realized that the one question I actually did have for you before we started recording, I didn't ask it, which is, how do you
oh,
pronounce your name?
yeah, eh, well, I can tell it for everyone else as well now. Then Minna
Thanks.
Mari is how
Minna
it's said in
Mari.
yes in Finnish. We
Okay.
we actually pronounce the R really like Minna
R.
Mari like that, and that's the thing that most people from the English speaking world usually say like Mary or which
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
understand
Ari.
why you say it, but that's
Yes, the
yeah
way that's
it's
they're they're tough.
so that's
Minna
always
Mari.
fun.
It's not
Yeah,
maybe enough. Maybe not enough of
no,
a trill,
that's
but I'll work on it.
no, actually I think maybe I exaggerated that R
So you're like, it's
because
this.
I want to like pronounce it properly, but then it's
Yeah.
maybe too much. If a Finnish person
No.
talks, maybe they actually just say Minna-Mari like really quickly like that,
Yeah.
but you can't actually hear it. So,
A little flap. Yeah.
but
Or a tiny
yeah,
trill.
you get it, I think.
Yeah. I actually really love these kinds of details. I studied linguistics, so um,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't graduate from college. I dropped out 3 times, so
Ah.
don't get it twisted. I have no degrees, but I did study it and really enjoyed it. And so I think pronunciation of a name in particular matters a lot. So just wanted to check in on that. So thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's something I didn't know, but I'm also
Mhm.
not my style of being a podcast host is I haven't done like a lot of digging up and being like, here is my list of exactly pointy questions, but more like
Yeah.
we're having this conversation. So that was a nice surprise to hear a bit about the background, and yeah,
Yes,
we'll take it organically how it goes. And I
absolutely.
also like from seeing your videos, you also have this way of expressing where you can play with the sounds, and you are also a singer, I understand, and
Yeah.
all of these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I love sound. I love how it feels in my body, and I love it's like a really accessible form of play for me, both in like
Yeah.
spoken and in song. So, um, it's a way that I can entertain myself since I was a kid. Is just seeing what
Yeah.
all of this can do and kind of delighting in manipulating the voice and or even just like noticing something like the sound of the R and then really taking time to hear it and play with it and see what little adjustments make to it is it's just delightful to me, so I'm glad that comes across.
Yeah, I noticed it when you pronounced
Mhm.
it that you were feeling it. It was really nice. And
Yeah.
maybe something we share a bit with sound, like also
Mm.
expression, experimenting with that. It's a big part of my life and has always been in different ways.
Yeah,
But
you are
yeah,
a songwriter as well.
yeah, I do write music, and I'm actually taking part in a weekly music community, weekly beats, and that's a place where people share a new song every week, just on like an online forum, and that's a bit. I'm not going out so much about it because it's nice to have these little pockets of like hidden forums and places where you just share some experiments. So that's one of that kind of a place. But I mean, it's open there if people want to know. Go to Weekly
Yeah.
Beats and you can join as well. And really nice community there. So that's something I'm doing now. But it's I also did publish a few albums, just old songs that I've written in my 20s and so on. That was like, I get these surges of, oh, I really want to get out these things to the world. And then I just
Mm.
like do that for a focused period of time. And now I feel like with the music, it's more like in the background, like a little fun, playful thing. And I have put more
Mhm.
of that energy into like, okay, I seem to be rambling now. I want to share these things on the podcast. And now I want to invite guests. And that's kind of more in the forefront and the focus. So it feels like my creativity goes through these different s- periods or stages or cycles. And
Absolutely. Yeah. I relate to that a
yeah,
lot. Yeah, I when you talked about the having a hidden pocket that is also public reminded me of we were talking a little bit about TikTok before starting recording, and that's exactly what that is for me too, is a hidden pocket that is actually out there for anyone to see or find,
yeah, it's
where I can, I don't know, feel low pressure but experiment. I that's the word that I use for it as well. It's like, I don't know,
yeah.
what can I express today, what wants to be expressed today,
Mm.
and just allow it. Yeah, it feels good to have that. Was it weekly beats you said? Because I might
Yeah,
look this up. Okay.
weeklybeats.com, I think, is the website. Yeah.
Okay. I will look into
Oh,
that. Yeah. Well, I've come across some of
yeah.
your songs on YouTube and I really enjoy
Ah, thanks.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I did do an attempt to share some of them on YouTube and probably, but maybe a bit more now as well. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's the season for rambling now. So
Yeah,
there's no
and
need
I
to.
mean sometimes the songs also are a bit rambling, but that's they can be crossbreeding too. But
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So what part of that creative cycle do you feel like you're in now yourself? Like what's your focus or what's the thing that
Mm.
usually wants to come through now?
You know, I have been I have been mostly I have been mostly talking lately, but I am feeling a lot of like stirrings of music again. Um, and that is something that I've kind of, I feel like, been like healing my way back to, being able to create with music. It's been a part of my life for my whole life, as a performer, but not necessarily as a creator. I have
Mm,
a lot of experience like singing other people's work, being, a member of a band where someone else is doing the songwriting and I'm singing harmonies or something like that, or that kind of thing. And I have some like a very it's so obvious to me like where the wound came from of feeling like I'm not allowed to write my own
mm,
music. And like most wounds, it's a childhood thing that happened that probably didn't have to be a big deal or wouldn't have been a big deal to someone else, but the way it landed to me was really um, made me feel very scared to use songwriting specifically to like express myself. I felt like, yeah, like I wasn't allowed. And so I've been doing a lot of work on that, and my TikTok account is actually a part of that. Um
mm.
I'm not using it for songwriting specifically, but it is like a place where I'm trying to express myself and share it. That's like the crucial piece,
Yeah,
is sharing it without making it something that I think is like good. It's something that just came
yeah,
out. I go in without a plan at all and just decide like I'm going to record some videos now, and that's the plan. And then I
yeah,
turn it on and see what happens, and then I post it. Um like period. So I'm kind of getting over that. Like, I'm not allowed to express and share. And now that how long have I been doing this now? 6 months, 7 months in to that practice, I've noticed myself start to kind of feel music in my body again as like a potential language and not just something I can sing that someone else like handed me, but something I can use to express again. So that's exciting, but it's very, it's in the early stages. It's still a seed under the ground, but
Mm.
it's sprouting. I can
Yeah.
feel that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thanks.
And I really look forward to hearing, because I can hear in the videos where you do this melody and like, oh, wow, she really has a voice,
Oh,
like
thank
also
you.
singing voice. So yeah,
Yeah.
look forward
Thank
to
you.
when
Thank
the
you.
time
Yeah.
is ripe for those.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I have a lot of training and I've been a voice teacher a little bit, so I have the confidence in like the ability to use my instrument.
Mm. Yeah,
But it's the that deeper part of the expression that I'm still kind of learning to trust and listen to.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes it's helpful to like you do with the videos, that it's kind of connected to your sharing your voice, but it's not right away jumping into music. If you had that kind of like wound or insecurity, or then that's like a stepping stone, that, oh, I'm just like videos, but then gradually like, oh, I'm singing a bit in the videos, and maybe there's something like coming loose and opening,
Mm.
and maybe something like that.
Absolutely something like that. Like it's giving me a platform to kind of like untie a little
Yeah,
knot that's been pretty tight for a long time and it's definitely loosening. So get ready. No.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm
Everyone else
ready.
gets ready to. No, but that's so
Uh,
interesting about like what the body learns and what's my place or what's my way of expressing, because my background in music is actually I played classical piano since I was
oh
7
wow.
years or even 6 years old. I started with that, just like a teacher who was in the neighborhood, uh, just this guy who was sitting on a couch, and I was a 6 year old going there playing on the piano, but he didn't like say or do anything. I think it was it was more like he got maybe
So
money from it. But then my mom realized that, and we switched, and I got into like a music institute when I was 11, and that approach to music was like very much this learning the theory and the practice in that way, where there was some kind of perfection you were trying to attain, and you had to sit straight when you're playing like classical piano. My
mhm.
teacher told me that it's also a visual experience, and it's about being still and like formal, and
Mm,
not also I learned about expression as well, but like that whole thing of sitting still with music. And we had yearly exams where I had to play the notes correctly.
mhm.
I That took me years to then later be like, wait, how do I want to express again? Like, and when I think I was 18 or 19 when I moved to study in Sweden. I grew up in Finland, then I moved to Sweden to study, so I dropped out or quit the music institute, and then I kind of gradually slowly started to try to come back to like, what do I want to play, what kind of music do I want to sing,
Mm,
or, and that was a long process where for many years I didn't really do much with music more than listen to it. And maybe for me it was also through other people's music that I really enjoyed, that I learned to play like different types of songs, not just classical, that I had that little pocket for myself also when I was in the institute, that I had my songs that I learned and played the way I wanted to, and then there was like the classical realm that was more the public or outward facing. So that process is still, there's still things that I can notice coming up in me with my own music, where I think it's thanks to this community where we have just this yearly song that we publish. You don't have really time to get stuck in that kind of perfectionism, or you do, but you become really aware of it because that
Mhm.
then it takes over your whole week. And
Right.
then I went more into like a one take, like I'm just gonna do one take, that's the song, maybe a bit like you did with the videos, and then it
Right.
turns out how it does. And that was also really healing in a way, like, oh, my voice broke there, and oh, that's, I forgot the tone right there, but that's the take. And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna publish it anyway. And so now my voice is breaking again to make a point, I guess.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that was like, so that was a bit of my background, maybe a bit of a different, but still some similar traits. So it's interesting to hear about all these paths and journeys that people take with their expression, and to try to find that place of this is me choosing how I want to express and also having fun with it. It's not for
Absolutely.
doing an exam.
Right.
Or that's not what
I mean,
music
it
is for
was.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so it can be, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about unlearning now, which is something I've heard you kind of talking about because
Yeah.
gosh, I think so many journeys are the process of, knowing something as a child and then
Mm.
being taught, the correct way to move through whatever sphere that is, in this case, music, the correct way to sit, the correct way to play the notes, the correct way to present yourself. And then the journey is unlearning those things and finding what you knew as a kid again, probably, which was just how to play, probably how you were
Yeah.
playing in that man's living room who was posing as a teacher and collecting money.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
I wanna know what you were playing in that room.
Well,
You
I
know?
know the first melody I learned to play was maybe it was I don't know if you have it in English. In
It's
Finnish,
not
it's
ringing a bell.
called like
Oh, yeah.
Ukonnoa, Ukonnoa,
Mm.
oli kunnon mies, or something like this. It's like a kid's melody. I was just
Yeah.
playing it on the piano, just having fun, playing and being like, oh,
Yeah.
these keys make this melody that I know. And my mom was like, oh, you can play piano. And then I
Ye
got to practice. So it started really playfully, like testing out, like, oh, what can I do? Oh, I can play a melody. So
yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. I played the piano, in that way as a child too, and those are some of my favorite times. Were just really getting
Yeah.
focused on this instrument and, like you're saying, just like, "Oh, this key makes this sound every time."
Yeah.
But maybe I can make it a little longer or a little louder or a little quieter, and, yeah,
Yeah.
just experiencing that. I'm a nanny right now for a toddler, and I know you have young children, and I love to let her play my keyboard and just
Yeah.
I don't say anything, you know? I find myself, like, wanting to comment. I'm like, "Oh, that sounded good just now," or something, but I really
Mm.
hold myself back and just let her explore it without any of my intervention. Because I don't know. I think that's a big part of what happens as children is you start to get that feedback from adults who think
Yeah.
that there's this right way to be doing it, and they kind of interrupt that exploration process. And
Yeah.
then you get their voice in your head going, is this one good or was that one bad, when it's just all sound. And
Yeah.
you know it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. I mean, not that it's not useful to learn techniques. Of course it's useful to learn those techniques, but not at the expense of not when it like enters your mind as like a critical voice of that that
Yeah.
slows you down from just playing and makes you think. It's like when you're trying to write, but the editor is in your head at the
Mm.
same time. Sh-
Then you
Not
kind
not
of
yet.
your hands become tied because you can't try
Mhm.
anything if it has to be kind of perfect from the start. Then
Yeah,
it's hard to do anything. Was my experience with that,
exactly.
and that's why it's good to do some messy action and
Mm,
get to that place of play.
exactly. Mhm. Yeah, and I think these kinds of experiences you and I are having with the weekly beats and my TikTok channel are learning. It's like allowing the nervous system to learn, like, oh, I can put out that thing where my voice
Yeah,
broke, or I tripped over my words, and or I didn't really have a point, and I can put it out there, and I'm not, I'm not going to be like tarred and feathered and run out of town, and you know what I mean, whatever
yeah.
whatever fear there is. Oh, I'm having a little message that it's trying to reconnect. Can you hear me and see me?
Yeah,
Are they lagging?
I can. It should
Okay,
be okay. It
very good.
should be recording kind of onto both our computers first.
Oh,
And of
nice.
course, the thing is, of course, it's nice to be able to talk and see each other. Like that could be with the lag, like the problem. But
Yeah.
then we have to practice the pause or waiting. But it's been going quite smoothly
Yes,
so far, so I hope it's
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
And but you were talking about unlearning
Mm.
before. Is there like something else that comes up for you that you think is something really like poignant, that this was something that actually harmed me to have learned and now it's a process of unlearning, like in life overall,
Mm.
that oh, I wish I hadn't learned that thing, or that would have kept more open, or for me to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that my my biggest theme of unlearning in my life really comes down to trusting myself over listening to external voices and expectations and pressures and things like that. That's a bit general, but it affects so many different areas of life, um,
Yeah,
and obviously relates to the music thing. But it's been really just everywhere. Like I don't know how to tune in to what I know to be true for me first, rather than defaulting to um, what I think society thinks is right in this situation, or what my parents would think, or my friends, or my enemies,
yeah,
or any of that. Um, yeah, and and we had maybe this is a good moment to bring up my work a little bit with the resonance cycle too, because I think that's kind of
yeah,
where that led me in kind of the biggest, most tangible way, was yeah, feeling like I didn't know how to structure my own time, because I was so stuck in thinking about all of those other outside voices telling me through my own mind how I should be structuring my time and then just getting caught in like endless battles, internal battles that were really keeping me quite stuck. Um, so that led me to think like, yeah, there just has to be a better way. And so essentially, I just started thinking a lot about my own energy and like I was very confused and frustrated that I didn't feel like I could show up consistently in the way that I was like expected to, that I was taught in schools was like the way to be successful. And I were you gonna say something there? Because go ahead.
No, it's just really so relatable, and I, yeah, I think also many people experience the whole thing of like coming to a point in your life when you realize that you just can't like do it the way that everyone tells you should be able to do. You have to go inwards and you have to just connect with that sense of what's right for me actually.
Yeah.
What's correct for me. So it's, yeah, really valuable insights that you're sharing, and very like universally applicable, I think, for many people at least.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that is the piece that is nice to hear from another person because in creating it, I was not sure if it was something, that anyone else would relate to, or at least in the way that I was kind of um, talking about it, because I only have my own experience to go off of.
Yeah.
So it's very validating. And yeah, hearing that it helped you too was really meant a lot. That was like confirmation that I had maybe touched something that was not only useful to me, but was maybe more of a human experience, or at least some
Yeah,
humans.
and in this moment, maybe it's a good time to also share a bit more specifics, like what resonance cycle,
What
what's
is
that?
it?
And
What are we
like
talking about?
I can also jump in and share a bit like my whole process with it, which might be different than yours, and then you
I would
can
love that.
share yours or
Yeah.
correct or like share yours. No,
Oh,
but like
no
that's
such
the
thing
way
as
that I
correct.
even got to, yeah, that was a joke. But
Yeah. Okay. Good.
um my awkward kind of jokes, but
I love it.
yeah, so that's the way that I even got to connect with you or know about you, is like we were in the shared Discord server, and then you
Hmm.
were writing something about, oh, I have developed a resonance cycle. And that was just, sometimes something really pings and catches you or caught my attention, or my energy was really jumping at it, like, oh, here,
Hmm.
look here. That
Mm.
was something that was kind of highlighted, and I really had to go and look, and I had to get it right away. So I purchased
Hmm.
it from your Gumroad.
Hmm.
And because I have been actually teaching a course about project planning, I've been really getting into the depths of how do I structure my whole yearly plan and monthly plans
Yeah.
and weekly plans. I've been big on structure, and working
Yes.
as a lecturer, you have to plan the courses in advance. And I actually enjoyed that process of like getting everything in place, and that's the day we do that, and that's the day we do that. So it was extremely structured and organized. And then for me, there was a big shift in parental leave when suddenly it's like, I cannot structure. This is what the baby does at 8 o'clock
Mhm.
today. Or, it's like, so there was like,
Right.
up, welcome to
Oh.
chaos. You have to surrender all your structure. You have to learn to flow in this structure. It's still its own kind of rhythm or structure, but I cannot impose on it. And then
Mm.
when you described this planner that was based on how you're feeling, or the resonance to certain energetic states or ways of being, it's like, whoa,
Mhm.
like that was such a opposite take to the way my mind has been really like, I can decide what you're gonna do all of the time so that you're productive and get things
Mm.
done.
Mhm.
And then instead it was like, huh, maybe you can start your day with this, just this, the paper that you have for the daily kind of check in. It's like,
Mhm.
how are you actually feeling in your body? What
Yeah.
emotions are coming up? What thoughts are coming up? And sometimes my mind is like, you don't need to do that check in. Like, you know what you should do. So go ahead and do it. And then I'm still like, no, it's just a little paper. I'm going to sit down and do it.
Yeah.
And then just by doing it, just by taking that moment, I'm like, wait a minute. I actually feel really anxious or really tense. And what's that? And then
Mm.
in just that little moment of checking in, I can like notice things in the background or just write a sentence to me that's like better to go calmly and slowly or instead of fast or something that I would have previously like rushed over, and I
Right.
didn't have that tool or that way of checking in, so there it was really really valuable. And also because I'm big for color codes, I love color coding everything that I
Yeah.
can. Then you have
Yeah.
these color codes for the different states, and I actually started
Yeah.
to. I used the monthly overview page for. I would just put in that same color pencil that activity and the energy of it, like if it was something I was deep in focus with, if it was
Yeah.
like just me needing to like organize things, synthesize things, or
Yeah.
if it was a day when I could not do anything and it was that state of just going inwards or
Right.
cocooning. And then
Yes.
when I started to like write this into that calendar view, I could start to see patterns of, when that
Mm.
happens, I go into that state. And when that happens, when there's a full moon, I'm all over the place. It's all
Yeah.
red. It's not maybe even that I get a lot done, but that energy is like, focus, focus, do this, do. It's like that kind of screaming energy for me, in
Yeah.
my experience. And then it's really more than a planner, I would say. It's actually a tool for self-awareness as well, or it's for supporting that kind of,
Mm.
and you can use it together with planning, but more, it's of course it's more a planning that you're anchored in the present, like a planning that comes from that, which was a totally foreign idea for me, who used to plan months, maybe the whole year in advance, like, this time of the year I should do that and that. Like, it's very different, and was that's why it was helpful, like particularly in that time with my ability or my control over my time felt like it was just taken from me.
Mm.
And what I have left, what you have left is you still have you, like as a tool or your energy in some way, and it's going to be much more effective, or you're going to be more effective if you know what's going on, or like what you're feeling. And with effective, I don't mean
Mm.
like, you get the stuff done. I mean that, like with the whole idea of the resonance cycle, that you use the energy that's there and you're in resonance with a certain, like, maybe you don't start to force yourself to like focus on a day when you're more like unstructured and in the energy of taking in and really being like receptive to different impressions, or like, so you can start to flow with those states and actually even notice them, which is hard to do if you are in the state of my mind has to, or I have to be able to control and decide everything. So
Mm.
yeah, that's for people
Wow.
listening. That's a kind of suggestion to look into if it's something that resonates for you in some
Oh.
way, or like, I guess you're still uh, sharing the resonance cycle. I mean, I have just used all of these PDFs that I got and like the
Yeah.
digital files that I just print and use.
Yeah, that's the
So
idea, is to get it
yeah,
once and then use it
yeah,
as long as you want to use it. Thank you for all of that sharing about how this actually has taken form in your life. I think I couldn't have said it better myself, which is so crazy. You're the first person I've heard talk about this
Hmm.
system I made, and to hear it landing in just exactly the way that I intended is the most magical feeling. And so I'm just gonna feel that for just a second. Um, wow. Yeah, so many things that I want to touch on, and I wish I had been taking notes as you said that, but we'll just see
You get the
what
recording of
comes.
this.
Right. Well, yes, I just,
But
things I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
comment on now.
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah.
Let's see. First of all, I'm so thrilled to hear that you were using the um that you were tracking your patterns with it and noticing patterns, because that is something that as I was making it, I saw that that could be possible and potentially
Mm.
interesting. But of course, I didn't know how, when I made this, I was making it because I was creating it for what I needed. I didn't know what it would be like to use it as I was creating it,
Mm.
It was just the layers as I thought through how where do I even start with this? It first was born out of just like the need to stop fighting myself, and I was recognizing that when I was putting so much pressure on myself to perform in the way that I thought I should be able to perform on any given day, um, I wasn't performing in the way that I was wanting to. That already wasn't working, I When I was younger, I was a bit more capable of really forcing myself into like output. And I've just been losing that a bit. And kind of similar to you, going through a major life change that totally disrupted your rhythms. I got sober and quit my job soon after, which I was a restaurant manager. I was in the hospitality industry for my whole life. You know, I enjoyed elements of it, but mostly I did not, and
Mm.
was self-medicating quite a bit, I realize in hindsight. And so when I, you know, had this new period of time where suddenly I didn't have a job that was telling me to show up at a specific time every day. I was doing like some like asynchronous online freelance stuff that I didn't like, while I was just to make some money while I was in this transition, and mostly focusing on like healing myself. So,
Mm.
I did not have the demands of babies, small children, pulling me away from myself. But it was just like going kind of into survival mode um, financially, and while really being pulled to do more like deep inner work, and more like spiritual work, and focusing on my body, and all of these other things. And I would just sit in front of the computer sometimes for hours with the tabs open of the work that I needed to be doing, just wanting to crawl out of my skin. Just like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. But I just kept myself sitting there stuck in this battle. And so the first thing that shifted was just me letting go of that fight, and then starting to listen to myself of like, what do I actually need? What am I feeling right now? Um what do I want to be doing? Oh, I actually want to be like researching this thing that really sparked my interest. And, who knows what that will lead to also. That's the other thing, like working with your energy instead of fighting it. Like, as you're kind of getting at, sometimes it does allow you to do better work, but this is not meant as a productivity tool. You know what I mean? Fundamentally. But that can have that result as well. Like, if you're more in alignment with yourself, um, maybe you do actually, show up better in the things you're trying to get done as well. But you're also going to be showing up better in rest and in play and in all parts of your life. It's not just for that. Um, but I guess I I created it as a permission slip, um, for for myself to tune in, um, to how was really feeling and act from that place, and just honor my true states and needs and wants. Um, and then that started to take the shape of like a system, because I'm like, great,
Mm.
that's all well and good to say, just tune in and listen to yourself, and but like, how
Yeah.
how do I do that? And so I don't know, many walks on the beach, just like thinking it through, and
Mm.
um kind of noticing, yeah, it's like, what are can I is it even possible for me to define like all the different like ways that I feel and like, come up with these categories of the five like energy types that I named. And that's something where like it's not as I feel like that is a big part of this system, but it's not what it really is at its core. At its, if you feel like these are not the same states that you go through, then you could still, I think, get something out of this using the states that you notice in yourself. Um, but that's actually that was kind of the biggest um, insecurity I had in putting it out there for
Mm.
other people, was like, okay, well, I've made this based on how I operate. you know, do other people operate the same way? I don't know. Um, but it's hearing from you that you've been getting good use out of it is validating for that, for sure. I think I still feel a little bit insecure about that. That's okay. Um, I can feel that
And
way.
then sometimes I feel like when we feel some insecurity about something or doubt about something, that's actually also a kind of feature that can be helpful because that's something that's like, maybe there is something that can be developed, or I can see something here, or an opening for further learning or deepening. And the point isn't to say that, oh no, my system isn't perfect because someone could interpret it differently. It's just like,
Yeah.
here is it. Here is my experience. Here is how I what I came up with, and then that will give something more than like nothing, not sharing it. And
Yeah.
then from there,
Mm.
everyone can kind of see for themselves, like, okay, and take what resonates and maybe add a bit of their own
Uh-huh.
categories. So it's doesn't like matter. I understand that feeling of the insecurity, but it's not like meant to be. It doesn't have to be complete
Perfect.
or perfect, or but it's perfect in its
Yeah.
own way for what it already does. Because
Thank you.
I did experiment with like, how do these energies feel for me? And now
Mhm.
it's interesting to kind of compare against what you described and add to it, like, but without having had that system or those
Yeah.
5 words to start from or themes. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have even maybe thought of it that way. But now I got the chance to be like, this blooming energy for me, it's just like the energy is big and it's focused. It wants to do this. That's what
Mhm.
it is for me. It's really like do action, action.
Yeah.
And then maybe the unstructured one is for me more like, I just want to take a walk or
Mhm.
something, like the blue color.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
The
then,
the drifting one.
oh yeah, yeah, drifting
Yeah.
one. And just let myself be in a receptive state.
Yeah.
And with the cocooning one, for me, that actually felt like shut down. That's the shutdown. And that's maybe from just my way of being, which is
Yeah.
like I'm, I would say that I'm a highly sensitive person and I take in a lot of sensory information and I get easily overwhelmed or have become overwhelmed in the past. And then previously, if I would try to push myself, particularly socially, like if
Mhm.
I tried to be social more than 2 days in a row, there's like total shutdown like the day
Mhm.
after. And I couldn't really even understand what's going on. I would be just crying. And
Yeah.
in this
Oh.
this embryo position and hugging a pillow.
Mm.
And that way the cocooning one for me, I felt like that's there's also some aspects of it that's just like deeply transmuting. It's like now
Mm.
we have either we have acted outwards a lot or
Mhm.
we have taken in a lot and there's like now we are, yeah, it's the
Yeah.
shutdown where we have to like transmute or process through somehow, and that means no action available, no socializing available.
Yeah.
That's it. That was how I kind of felt into it. And I added a black color sometimes in addition to the purple one. I think purple is perfect for transmuting. That's the
Mhm.
color I feel when I imagine different types of energy around me. When I feel like I'm able to transmute incoming energy, it's always purple. Like it's
Mhm.
sometimes it's a purple goo that's kind of blending with the energy and changing it. Sometimes it's like a purple flame that can just burn
Mm.
energy. And then that purple yeah color really fit with that. But the black one was more like that, you know, that kind of shutdown where you go into the void and
Mm.
you're like
Yes.
nothing, or
Yeah.
it's not as much of active processing, or you know, still maybe you're not visibly active but you can feel like, oh, there's a lot going on integrating. And
Mhm.
sometimes like like you don't really feel anything or you don't know
Anything.
anything, you just need to be
Yes.
nothing.
Yeah.
So then I would write it in black actually. So
Yeah.
that's what was my own addition, I
Oh,
would
I love
say.
that.
And I experimented with pink, like just something that was just fun, enjoying, playing, savoring, or that would be pink.
Yeah.
And, but because it's like, it's not the same as focused doing this, it's not the same as
Yeah.
drifting, it's more like, yay, yeah, kind of. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, that's I
But
love hearing this.
but that would all kind of, they are all additions or shifts or
Mhm.
adjustments from what you created.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
has so much value already, and then just being able to take from that and feel into it yourself, that's for everyone else like to do on their own.
That's beautiful. And it's truly how I was hoping it would be used as a tool. I tried to, I knew when I made it, it was a different way of thinking about planning. Because the whole thing is the integration of this practice of checking in with yourself and noting your energetic states, and then how do you integrate that in with planning your life and your day to day, and and I don't know. I was like, this is gonna have to be. How do I communicate this? This is gonna have to be kind of a lot of information to like tell you what I'm thinking of, like how to do this as a practice, and as like a kind of a framework. But then the whole underlying ethos is trust yourself and listen to yourself. And so I tried to also create a lot of room in it for like, but what does this mean to you? And
Yeah,
yeah, and how can you um how can you make adjustments so that this fits into your life as a supportive tool and not as just one more thing that you're trying to force yourself into, you know?
yeah,
So, yeah, I love that. I love how much you resonate with the colors and can kind of like feel into those as states, that's really fun, I think, and useful to see as the visuals across the month of um, as your energy moves. And yeah, yeah, these are kind of the layers that developed on top of it as I started thinking through all of this. Was like, oh, if I do this practice, if I have this information, then I can um, gain this level of like awareness and understanding about how I operate, that allows for even more self-attunement and honoring, and while also still existing within a society and needing to show up to things and get things done and be in, capitalism and all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, um, very, very cool. Oh, thanks again for sharing your experience with us. It's really, really fun for me to hear about.
You're welcome. And I'm also glad I get to share about it because it's in the moment of like pausing and being like, wait, what did I do? How did it work? And then I actually realize those things. I don't maybe think about it all the time. And then when I have
Hmm.
to describe it, it also comes through like, oh, yeah. And now I realize how much, now I can see how much things have shifted or my approach and ways of doing things. And um, the place where I'm at in my life, which is feels like I'm in a totally new reality, different reality, and probably wouldn't maybe be in that reality if I hadn't done that kind of processes of like really being dedicated to tune in, and those tools
Mm.
help help to have some ways of doing that instead of like just look inward or just tune in. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's helpful
And
to
then
have
what?
those.
And
Yeah. So
then what do you do with that? Yeah. Because I like
yeah.
I also can delight in the structures of things. It is a challenge for me, but I can really love it. And so yeah, it's like, where do you put this? Then how do you organize it? Because I don't know. I tend to get very sucked into like how I'm feeling in the moment, and then I feel like that's my whole life. Just like however I'm feeling right
Mm.
now is what's always true, but that's not actually real. I feel different things. I you know, I am pretty present. And so it can feel like the current state is the eternal state. And, depending on how far you want to zoom out, I guess it kind of
And
is. But,
yeah,
oh
the
gosh,
eternal
I lost
now.
my train of thought. The eternal now, exactly.
It's
But
all we
yes,
can know.
I remember what I was gonna say now though. But I have, we outside of this, we kind of talked about existential frameworks, and we were thinking we were going to talk about that, and now almost an hour in, I'll bring one up. But I I do use like astrology, and like my north node, for anyone who has this language, my north node is in Capricorn in my 6th house. And so I've been kind of uh, also relating to this work as a way of, okay, I am moving towards, I've had a lot of struggles with the daily routines and the
Mm.
structure and all of that through for my whole life. This has been one of my biggest struggles. And so I think coming up with a way to transmute that struggle into a system that works for me feels very aligned with the that north node placement.
And also just creating a container and a system is very
Yeah,
Capricornian.
Capricorn.
And now, why I
Yeah.
was raising my eyebrows was because I have a North Node in Capricorn as well,
Oh, you
but it's
do?
in the third house.
Oh, okay.
And for anyone who understands astrology, they know what that means, but for other
Yeah.
people the third house is more about communication and thinking, or like travel close by, like in your neighborhood, your hoods, or
Mhm.
interacting. That's how I understood it. And that actually opened it up for me a lot, because I realized that for me it's also about maybe this is my neighborhood too, like talking to you and like
Right.
creating this, or that's
Yeah,
my
you've
systems that I'm creating right now, at
totally.
least, like so with
Oh, exactly.
communicating and the ideas and the frameworks that we talk about and that I ramble about. So it's funny. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, you've definitely created the container for us to have this conversation here. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I appreciate that. Oh, thanks,
Me too. I'm
Capricorn. Thanks.
glad we,
and,
yeah.
and you, mostly.
Yeah. That's now, because we were talking about existential frameworks, I would also ask a bit like, have you been using mostly astrology or also other of those?
Yeah, astrology I have the longest relationship with, which I think is probably fairly common. It's, been more like, I don't know, accepted in um more mainstream kind of ways
Yeah.
for a long time. So um but I am also I get a lot out of human design and gene keys as well, which I know are both frameworks you have quite a bit of experience
Yeah.
with and talk about. So yeah, I use them all, in conjunction with each other. Kind of just depends on how I'm thinking about something, which one I'm
Yeah.
going to think about first. But I think they all offer something different, um,
Yeah.
and I find them all useful. Yes.
Do you want to share some about your own,
Oh, sure.
I don't know, stats? What do we call
Yeah,
these things?
absolutely. You guys can know
So
anything at
is
all about me. um, yeah, let's say, okay, astrology, my big three are Leo rising, Cancer sun, Scorpio moon. Um,
oh,
yes. And then let's see, in human design, I'm a generator. 4-6 profile lines. People know what that is. Um, sacral. And if you care to know my incarnation cross, the right hand cross of the vessel of love. Um,
oh,
I know it sounds nice, doesn't it?
yeah.
And yeah, and gene keys, I don't have as much like memorized of that. That system is a little more loose in my mind, although it is maybe the one that I enjoy thinking about the most. But I
Mm.
haven't like studied it as much. But I can tell you my life's work is 15. Um, that's somewhere to start.
Mm. I don't know those by heart. Do you remember
Yeah.
like the words of it, or?
Yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. Let's see. It's the shadow of dullness, um, and the gift of magnetism, the city of fluorescence.
Mm.
And yeah, and actually I was listening to that one kind of recently, and there was a line in it about finding magic in the mundane, which is something that you and I had connected about and
Yeah.
talked about a bit, just as we were planning this conversation. And I hadn't listened to the Gene Key or read it in a long time, and so I thought that was so interesting that was that exact phrase jumped out.
Mm.
Yeah.
There are some really interesting synchronicities in the gene keys I've also found. And what you were saying, that it's something you've been kind of thinking of, but not maybe studying, or that's kind of how it's meant to be. I feel like with the gene
Yeah.
keys, it's like just a presence of something, or vibing with these words a bit and feeling into them, but it's not something that you're going to like, I have to just like study this and put it in my head. Or
Yeah.
it's more like it shows up in your life. And like that was also a funny example, like the magic of the mundane, and that showed up with us talking, and then you like
Mhm.
got the reminder. And
It's like,
yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yes, I when I first learned about the gene keys, I spent a lot of time, reading through all of my different things, but it's so much to process that
Yeah.
it's not something you can get like an embodied understanding of immediately. You can maybe intellectually understand it, but that's not the point of it. It is to sit with it and let it. It's like, yeah. I think the work of like transmuting the energy of the shadow into the the gift, is just kind of the awareness that they are one and the same, and just having that running in the background, and then you kind of notice in your life maybe how that energy, shifts for you over time, just because you're aware of it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
How does that land
Yeah.
to you?
I think it's something that I think about with the gene keys is like, if you go onto the website and just make the profile, and you get like a lot of descriptions at once and want to read through
Mhm.
all of them. And I mean, I did that too the first time I looked into it. I was like, a lot that resonated, but it's like, oh, it's too much to hold. It's just also because it's quite deep with all these
Exactly.
three. It's not just like, oh, you have this sphere of your life's work. It's like three
Yeah.
layers of it, and all of
Yeah.
those three words are just a symbol for something that's like even vaster or deeper than you might think at the first instance. So
Right.
then it was helpful to me when I actually went through the whole path of like the golden path with the different courses that help you
Mhm.
structure the journey into like going through them, like spending 1 month per sphere. So,
Mhm.
and even longer when I went to the Venus sequence that goes deep into your relationships. That was like some deeper and heavier stuff that I needed like time to feel into it and
Yeah.
process a bit,
Mm.
like a few months even on just one of these with like these three layers. And
Mhm.
so that's something I would want to give as a like advice to with the jinky, is really like, that's one case where trust yourself is really really valuable advice. Like
Mm.
feel into yourself, like what can you hold right now. Maybe you can just have one word at a time, maybe not even like, maybe just focus on the gift and seeing how that shows up, because that's actually a suggestion. It's like, don't get stuck in just the shadow, that oh, I have to like
Mhm.
win the shadow and get into the
Yeah.
gift. It's more like, no, maybe it's good to have the attention on the gift and have a bit in the back of your mind, you have awareness that the shadow, and then you can spot it when it comes up. But then it's like, okay, I spot it. You don't need to go deep
Mhm.
into it either, in a way. At least
Yeah.
in the jinkies, that was my feeling, because there's like so much. So just like give it time, and it's really a journey that's meant to unfold on its own time, in your time,
Mhm.
and only you
Exactly.
can know and feel what that is. And that's the thing, that's maybe one of the most challenging things of all, is when you haven't had practice in being allowed to feel how you
Mm.
feel, or
Mhm.
what your timing is. That's then I also know that that's not really easy advice to take. I'm just still gonna
Mhm.
give it, but it's
Yeah.
with the understanding that that can be a challenge with when you go through these kinds of processes of, yeah, deconditioning or
Mm.
unlearning, or like,
Mhm. Well, of
yeah.
course, there's so much emphasis, in our and we are in, um, different cultures in a lot of ways, living across the world from each other. But um, you know, a lot of emphasis where I have grown up of just like getting to the finish line and
Yeah.
achievement. And so I think it's easy to take a framework, especially like the Gene Keys that has this language of like shadow gift and city, and see it as like I need to race to get to the, at least the gift um, of all of these as quickly as I possibly can. And that's how I'm
Yeah.
going to win and be, I don't know, good. Um, and, and it really is not the point. I mean, I have the book of the Gene Keys as well, that big book that
Mm.
um in the introduction, spends a lot of time talking about how it's meant to be used, and how contemplation is the way to use it. And that's not even a process that has a destination. You know, it's just it is just a practice of sitting with something, I think.
Yeah.
But it is hard. It's not what our it doesn't align with our conditioning in a lot of ways, but I think that that's why it's helpful in the way that it is.
Yeah, that's why I think there's a place for it, and why there are many people I notice getting drawn to it. And
Mhm.
from our, I think even if we're in different countries, we have a similar context still, like in
Mhm.
this Western type of context, or those that's similar here with the having to get things done and
Mhm.
fast and be
Mhm.
productive and
Mhm.
those kinds of things. And that was the funny thing and very challenging thing in the gene keys, was like the way to be productive and get things done there is like to really sit with it and let it take it as long as it
Mhm.
needs, because otherwise I'm rushing through and not actually learning or integrating those things. And
Right.
that's an ongoing process too. So to get to the gift, like you will get there, like it's cyclical, like you like we experience different frequencies all the time. And that's
Yeah.
how I see it, at least. But
Well, yeah,
to take the
exactly.
pressure off, at least that's kind of the intention of that. Not that you can't, like maybe you get to a place where you can more come to a place of more inner calm overall, but like if some shadow stuff comes up or you're triggered, that's also part of life. It's not like a big deal or something to
Right.
be ashamed of, or just like to have that reminder.
Exactly. Yeah, it isn't yeah, it's not a destination where you arrive there and then you're just operating in the gifts of all of your various spheres for the rest of your life. And now you've done it and you're enlightened, and there you go. It's, yeah, we're
So enlightened. Nothing more to talk about.
no, exactly.
But
uh
yeah, but that's like why I decided to be a Gene Keys guide, was also to kind of provide that possibility to, and because I really wanted to be able to guide people into leaning into it and not taking on that pressure, because that's what I felt when I went through the journey, and that was my
mhm.
own perfectionist, or my
Mhm.
have to show how good I am or how proficient I am, whatever, like those kinds of shadows that come up in me.
Mhm.
And then that made me really aware of like the risks that these existential frameworks have, or gene keys in that case, of like the shadow and the gift, how easy it's to misunderstand, or just get stuck into like some kind of perfectionism. That I
Mhm.
wanted to really go deep into it and really learn as much as I could, so I can also on that like more integrated level, so that I can hopefully provide a space that can like like
Mm.
it's your life, you can land into your life, you can, it's an experience, it's a cool experience, like, but it isn't a sprint, and
Mm-hmm.
like that energy, and like provide that kind of space of being with it in
Mm-hmm.
a more openly exploring way, and without having to rush or anything. And,
Mm. I think that
and
is so valuable.
that's why I keep reminding about that, like just start with one word, or just as long as you need, and don't have to have it all in the head right away.
Right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, holding it all in the head, isn't the whole picture anyways. I think getting things into the body as well, and into the
Yeah.
um I don't know, into the subconscious maybe, and just all the different ways in which you can understand something, not just intellectually. Hmm.
What are your favorite ways of getting into the body and more
Mm.
like coming down to earth, kind of?
Well, I really love being in nature, first of all. Even if it's my yard, it doesn't have to be anything special or like a big trip. Um, just going out to my little garden, or the lawn, it doesn't really matter. And slowing down, um, putting my phone down, and listening to the birds, just tuning in kind of to little, you miss so much, that's just right there by not taking the time to slow down and be there. And sitting on my porch doing just this, last night when I really really needed some grounding, and I saw a little leaf move, and there's stuff happening all around, but because I happened to tune in to this little movement in a leaf, then I saw a tiny little frog just,
Mm.
living their life. And bees, I don't know, watching a bumblebee, like those kinds of tiny connections with nature, are, I think, the fastest way for me to kind of calm down. And then I like to, move my body as well too, in, you know, dancing, or just kind of like wiggling. I love a good wiggle.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think having that external, tuning in with the nature helps me first even remember that I can like get back into my body if I'm too far out there in, thought, or in distraction, or whatever the case may be. What about you?
Yeah, it's similar here. I also enjoy to go to the forest, and actually this week I had been with this podcast, I had also been getting more into like, okay, I want to try this time to make clips and posts
Mm-hmm.
and stuff to really make an effort there. But then I got a bit too deep into it and felt like I was overworking, and I had kind of stopped with this paradox or this irony of, oh, I'm gonna share a post about pausing, but actually I didn't pause myself. Like these kinds of things, like then it's like, oh yeah. So then I just decided,
uh,
on that day when I realized this, I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna just leave my phone and stuff here and just go into the forest, and I take as long as I need, and I'll just use those hours for that, and just get back to that state, and
mhm.
just being there. And there's also a big shift here, because my youngest is now starting to go to daycare.
Mm.
So that's actually when I was dropping them off was suddenly I have a few hours alone,
Mhm.
and space that space that opens up, and it feels like so bizarre and so new. And I think I was probably putting a lot of work
Mhm.
into that empty space that opened up, because it was freaking me out a bit to have
Mhm.
that empty space, because we used to be together that time and play
Mhm.
around here. And we used to go actually together when they were sleeping in the stroller. I would go on walks by the forest,
Mhm.
and now I don't have those stroller walks in the week in
Mhm.
the same way, maybe.
Mhm.
Well, we did have a few later after the daycare, but yeah, now I realized while we're talking, that was good we were talking about these things, because I realized that I maybe even didn't want to pause to feel that space, because
Mm.
there's some sadness of
Yeah.
that shift of having been so much together. And that's the whole bittersweet thing of that I experience, at least in parenthood, is on the one hand you're looking forward to that time when they go to daycare and you can have a bit of time, or since I enjoy these projects and I can focus on that. But when it's suddenly empty,
Mhm.
there's still the emotion that comes, and maybe there's a moment to just also feel that instead
Mm.
of rushing into these projects, because that became a little bit of a overwriting that emotion, like
Mhm.
not maybe wanting to fully feel it. And then when I went to the forest, it's the forest like feels like it holds me, and it's very
Mhm.
comforting. And I have this meadow where I go, and there's a big old oak, and these really old oaks, they feel like these grandparents of
Mm.
some kind of archetypal grandparent, or just energy of something really old and deep and wise, and it's extremely very grounding. And I was just sitting there because it had like a branch that had fallen off, so it's like a
Mhm.
thick branch right next to the oak, and I could just sit
Mm.
on it. And I
Beautiful.
didn't like take any pictures or anything, because it was just a moment for me. Well, now I'm sharing about it, but anyway, it was still a moment for me in that moment.
Yes.
So, so that's, yeah, nature, the forest mostly, because it's forest around here, and that's what I grew up with. So that's like my connection to nature usually is
Mhm.
trees and forest. I have some trees to sit with. And then the funny thing is that after I had that walk, then suddenly I was open to receive, and I got like a bunch of ideas again, like, oh, I got a new
Mm.
idea for writing something about this
Mhm.
experience, about posting, or like this, like the whole. And now when we're talking about it, it's actually deepening it a bit. So that's cool.
Mm.
How these creative processes work in different cycles and stages, and at the end of it, we need to have some way of creating openings for it to come in, or to
Mhm.
receive ideas, or
Yes.
process the experience, not just like full on experience, do that kind of
Mhm.
thing, but like the experience of being. And that's what the pausing is actually about. I think it doesn't have to be like you have to be still and just not do anything. You can take a walk, or but it's more like being in that state of where it can actually land. And I had to
Yeah.
learn it again this week. So
Well, I
yeah,
think we all have to learn it again and again.
yeah,
Really.
that's
Yeah.
how it is.
Yeah. I think that the openness is exactly right. Because if you're always striving to be creating and putting something out, um, you're just you're too busy to get anything to you can't hear anything coming in even if it wanted to, you know, because your mind is too
Yeah,
full. And yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think people all have their individual ways of slowing down or creating that space. And that could look, I'm not a runner, but some people run, and that's very active. But maybe that's what grants them that openness in their mind, and like energetically, it's
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like sitting in meditation, although I find that useful too. Um, but yeah, just noticing what you need. You noticed that you were missing that walk, and that you know you're feeling a you're feeling a change and an emptiness, and you're noticing that the the lack of the um the this kind of consistent space that you'd been having with your child, and feeling that that was gone. um you noticed what you needed in that moment, which was, you know sitting with some grandparent trees and being held. I think that's really poetic, actually, when I think about it that way. And
Yeah.
beautiful. But I'm glad you listened, to yourself, instead of just, yeah, I mean, again, not a parent, but I'm aware of, I listen to a lot of parenting stuff. Being a nanny, I get, my algorithm definitely thinks I'm a mom. Um,
Mm.
but I think the common narrative is to, you've got this time back now. You can get stuff done. And I'm glad at least that day you didn't.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just about being and
Mm-hmm.
not getting things done. And sometimes it's fun to get things done.
Yes,
So
sometimes
it
it's sometimes
depends.
it's so fun to get things done.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes it is so fun to get things done, especially if you've been um, allowing yourself to, you'll have so much more energy to get the things done when that energy comes up, if you haven't been trying to force it,
Mm.
when what
Yeah.
you need is to be in the fetal position and with the lights off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I feel
Yeah.
like this is starting to wrap up here
Yeah, I do
a bit,
too. Yeah.
and we're both generators. I
Okay,
didn't even
bye.
share mine, but
Oh, yeah.
but that's kind of something I notice is like, ah,
Okay.
that energy got used, and
I think we
that's
did
that.
it.
We did it, and that's kind of funny. Like, that's a
Yeah.
thing that happens for a generator. Like, I know it's kind of done. I'm satisfied. This was
Yeah.
awesome and just lovely to talk with you, and now I can rest.
Likewise, so satisfying. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful that you reached out to me. It's been just wonderful to connect with you and talk with you, and I love
Same.
um, watching everything, all the content you're putting out there online, and listening to your podcast. It's so fun, and yeah, what an honor to be a guest. So thank you.
No, the honor is mine. And maybe I should do this podcasting thing like, do you want to be found? Or where can they find
Oh,
you? And so on,
oh
so
my
on.
gosh. Right. I forgot to even think about that. Yeah, I think, well, we talked a lot about the TikTok. People can find me on there. I am Kenzie M Main. It's KenziEmMain. And I think if people are interested in the resonance cycle, oh gosh, I mean, I guess you could like look that up on Gumroad. I'm not prepared. It's in a link.
I
It's in a
can
link in
just,
my bio. You could link it
yeah,
or
I can
something.
just add the
Okay.
links
Okay,
to the description.
that would be easiest. I'm on Instagram too, just Kenzie Main, and it is a public profile, and the link's in my bio, but I'm not super active on Instagram. Um, so, that's But hey, you can look me up there too if you want to. I don't mind. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I have to try to be a bit proper with this podcasting experiment. But also like it's that of course share your insights and everything, your wonderful TikToks to the world so
Thanks.
people can find. So with that, let's say bye.
Okay. Bye.